Hey guys, and welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. I'm your host Jack, and I'm here with Liam.
Hello.
And in today's episode, we're talking about Telltale's The Expanse. Okay, so mate, you've seen the little trailer that's been released during Gamescom. What were your first impressions?
I think it's definitely put my hype up a lot more. We saw the trailer back a while back in, last year, I think it was, or maybe earlier this year. I have no sense of time. But essentially, yeah, before we didn't really have much to go off of. We just sort of looked at the character. It was probably more of a nod for fans of the actual Expanse show. And the graphics look good, but that's all we could really comment on. This time we've got a bit more, haven't we? We've got a gameplay, we've got a choice there, we've got a bit of plot. I mean, yeah, like it's definitely reignited my excitement for Telltale that I haven't felt for in, some years, to be honest. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, honestly, the premise sounds really good as well. So from what I gathered from the trailer, you're the captain of this scavenger crew and you come across this shipwreck essentially in space, but then going on board you see all these dead bodies and everything's all over the place, and that's what I'm guessing the premise of the game is. You go there to scavenge, but you've then got to solve the mystery of what happened to everyone on board, and maybe that's where a villain comes in. And honestly, to touch on what you said about the TV series, I've never seen the TV series, so I'm going to be going into this game completely in the dark. So hopefully that will prove to benefit at some point.
Of course, and I am just really intrigued by a lot of the stuff this trailer's already, or this gameplay reveal's already thrown at us. We already have a choice, Jack, don't we? There's this bald man who looks like he's a prisoner, or he's in like the release pod, and you've got a choice, I guess. Do you like release him because you don't trust him, or do you bring him in with you and he could potentially help you with the scavenger hunt? I'm already unsure. I mean, obviously there's no context, but I don't know what I'm going to do, and it already looks like they've thrown a really difficult choice at us, and I'm really intrigued to see what comes about with that. And my second thing I was going to mention there is, the graphics look a lot better, don't they? We have these shots of these dead bodies with blood on the walls, and that's already piqued my interest, but it almost looks like there's a darker tone in this game, which we've not really seen from other Telltale games. I mean, did those things pique your interest as well, mate?
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of the choices, I mean, obviously you're the captain of this crew, and actually the gameplay that they did show in this game, it looked like it was important decision moments. You had, yeah, like as you say, the guy in the airlock, you had that person shouting at you, like, what are your orders, captain? So it looks like the emphasis, as expected, is going to be put on you as the player and as the captain. And then as far as the graphics themselves, yeah, I really like it, and it doesn't look comic book style, does it? Like the traditional Telltale games. And I think because they're in partnership with Deck Nine, who of course did Life is Strange, it's almost as if like if you could put the graphics of both of those developers together into one, this is exactly what you'd get.
Yeah, that's literally it. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what happens. Like, obviously I need more. We've got a lot of games to get through around the corner, such as The Devil in Me, and we're going to be covering a few on the channel. But yeah, it looks like we'll be covering this game though, mate. The release date that's given to us, or the at least time frame, is summer of 2023. Now, are you surprised by that? And is that a good or bad thing?
I'm actually not surprised by that, and I'll quickly say that I think that this almost gives a clue as to maybe when The Wolf Among Us could come out, because let's face it, they're not going to want to release both games at the same time, are they? That would just be a poor marketing strategy. But I think that if this one is being announced now, it's coming out in the summer, maybe The Wolf Among Us 2 won't be until late next year. And thinking about it, when I was watching a video about The Wolf Among Us earlier on this year, they was saying that it is still very much in development in terms of like recording, for the dialogue and starting to build the game up. So maybe that is a realistic release time for both of these games. But I'll tell you what, mate, before I quickly wrap up, there are some interesting things in terms of gameplay as well, wasn't there? in terms of the whole 0G, like I think that's going to be quite interesting. It looked like that you could choose where to land in terms, it's so hard to describe, but there was like a little cursor and then the character like landed on the floor, even though it could have been a ceiling, it could have been a wall, it could have been anything, because it's obviously in space. And then of course you had sort of the mini quick time event. You had like an object falling towards you with a big red exclamation mark. So like there are definite ingredients from Telltale in there, but the whole thing, it definitely looks like an upgrade from what we've seen previous.
I agree, because with The Walking Dead season 3 and 4, I think it introduced, the camera being behind the person, and we could actually rotate Clementine or Javi. So it's interesting to see, not only do we still have that, but they've won up to it and they've added a 0G feature. And, it looked really cool, especially with like the rotating cameras. And it just looks like, they've taken the time to go away, refresh after their incident, however many years ago. And it looks like they're bouncing back stronger. So hopefully, they can kind of avoid making the mistakes they have in the past, with all these quick release dates. And hopefully they've taken the time just to really focus on this game and make it a potential dark horse for being like, one of our favorite games in this genre, I guess, mate.
No, absolutely. So unless you've got anything else to add, mate, we'll wrap up there, shall we?
I haven't. But thank you very much, guys, for watching the video. Tell us if you're excited for The Expanse. And tell us if this is a game you'd really like us to cover on the channel when push comes to shove and we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, if you are a fan of Telltale games, if you're a fan of Deck 9 games, then definitely stick around on this channel, because we do have a Walking Dead video up at this moment in time. We're going back through Telltale's Walking Dead Season 1. Of course, we will be covering Life is Strange in the future. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys, and we'll see you next time.
See you in the next one, guys.